You're good to go.
I call the meeting to order. And what are we at? 5:32? 5:33? 17:32. Quick roll call. I'm here. Member Strong will not be here tonight. His husband passed away yesterday. So she is taking care of family business. Byers here. Falls not here. Stinson not here. Okay, would you please stand, face flag? Mance, would you like to lead us on the pledge?
Yes, please salute. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Quickly go around the room and everyone introduce themselves. We usually start over that side, so we'll start here.
Okay. Mark Azevedo, Police Lieutenant.
Tricia Whiteley, Assistant Finance Director.
Dave Rossman, Deputy Fire Chief.
Yvette Rodriguez, Administrative Assistant for the Fire Department.
Fernando Gabriel, Chief Deputy City Clerk.
Right, Hogburn, Fire Chief.
Sarah Weaver, Project Manager, Engineering and Project Management Department.
Bridge. Yeah, that's the title, isn't it?
Nice.
Yeah. Bridge Tree, Interim City Manager. Josh Manus, Police Captain.
Rebecca Hodeke, Acting City Librarian.
Sally Moore, Parks and Leisure Services Director, Acting Deputy City Manager.
I think you beat mine.
Pardon?
I think you beat mine.
Yeah.
It's on Byers' committee.
Which answers my question too. So you're the Assistant City Manager now, correct?
Acting Deputy.
I knew who wasn't. I got them all blanked out. And who's in charge of Public Works now?
Robert Alvarez.
Alvarez? Is that an acting position or are you really acting? And what was your name again?
Rebecca Hodeke.
You can help me with the spelling of the last name.
JAUREGUI.
And you're with the library? And is Mr. Ariano still?
No, he retired. Okay.
Okay, so you are acting. Anybody here besides me?
Me.
Oh, okay. All right. This is the time for oral communications. Anyone have anything outside of this committee that they would like to address? As you none, we'll proceed with the minutes from the last meeting. Sean, have you read the minutes? Did you see anything there that need to be corrected or amended? We have a motion to approve. Motion to approve. I guess I can second it since I'm the only other member present there. Moving on to the review of fourth quarter measure H, and as usual, I would like to, where possible, include measure I in your report if you have responsibilities of that nature for the fiscal year of 24-25 as of June 30th, 2025. And let's start with Captain Nates.
Yeah, thank you, Mr.
We had a telephone conversation this morning, and there are a few things that, and I have reviewed everyone's portion, so if you try to slip something by me, you probably get it done. Anyway, the police department had some few changes that Captain Manus can explain to us much more thoroughly than I can.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to start with the more notable expenditures that we had during the fourth quarter. So the rent of property and equipment, we did have a $20,000 expenditure as far as Bellman Flex, which came out of Measure H. This is a one-time annual payment. That covers a portion of the total payment of $146,000. Of that, the Measure I expenditure was $126,000. So that is notable because it is a substantial cost. We also had, for uniform allowance, we've had quite a few people who have had vest replacements for ballistic vest. Typically, the ballistic vest will expire due to breakdown in the material every 5 years. So with that being said, we do have to take that into account as they come up. We do budget for it, but that could be a substantial cost. A lot of the things that I'm going to cover is also reimbursed through certain funding, either through the state or the federal government. Typically the vest, there's a portion that we do get reimbursed for that. So that's obviously a good thing. We did increase our SWAT personnel. We increased our SWAT team members to include 20 personnel now. That's up from 12. So the reason for that is if we do have a deployment, which does happen quite frequently, depending on the year and what's going on, it's more efficient for us to be able to operate. So anytime you increase your personnel, you obviously have operating costs. Sometimes due to the specialized equipment, that type of cost can be substantial. Some more training expenses that we incurred during the fourth quarter. Typically that is due to post requirements and the fact that certain classes are offered at certain times of the year, but you also have to take into account personnel who may be on vacation, personnel who are sick, who can't make it earlier in the year. Sometimes, these things fluctuate. So you might have excessive, I don't want to call it excessive training, but you might have required training that seems in excess at one specific quarter, but that's the reason behind that. Under other machinery and equipment, there's another expenditure to the tune of $272,000 and some change. That's for our Axon equipment. That is also a one-time annual expense. So the Axon, as most of you probably know, covers our body cameras, the software, the drones, our fleet in-car camera system, taser equipment, and our cloud-based storage. The Measure H expenditure for that was to the tune of $40,000, and Measure I is $231,000. We also have started an upgrade to our emergency operations center located at the police department. We really saw the need for the upgrade during the flood fight a couple years back. We've started that, so there's a Measure I expenditure to the tune of $54,000. With that being said, however, that is reimbursable by California Office of Emergency Services. Other than that, we did add some covert equipment to the tune of about $8,000 in the fourth quarter. So that is, I don't want to call it substantial, but there's an expense of about $9,000. That's all I have. I'm open for questions.
The vehicles that got moved.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
You're welcome.
So I believe the chief may have covered this during the last
He thought he
meeting.
was gonna do it, didn't he?
But we did take, several years ago, we started a transition of our vehicle fleet within the general fund to Measure I. We're nearing completion of that, so there's going to be what looks like a substantial cost to the Measure I maintenance. What comes out of maintenance is typically depreciation, fuel, maintenance, anytime we take a vehicle in for repairs, things of that nature. So that's why when you look at your Measure I expenditures for the vehicles, that's why that number looks elevated. So you're welcome.
A little bit off of the subject of Measure H and I, but how's the drone program going?
So I think our drone program is probably one of the best in the county. I would even go as far as to say one of the best in the Central Valley. All of our pilots are Part 107 certified, which means they are licensed operators. We do have, I think, 6 to 8 drones. One of those drones is a specialized piece of equipment that we use during our SWAT deployments. We call it our interior drone, so it can get in tighter spaces. It is a smaller drone, but it's fantastic.
Yeah. How many here have not seen the drone demonstration? You've not seen it? That's something maybe next year we can step outside and
Yeah,
see that.
absolutely.
It's really very interesting,
Absolutely.
especially now, because it was still in the early stages last time we saw it. And now it should be a well-oiled machine and
Sure.
works much smoother.
But we also have a great canine program too, so.
Well, let's bring one in. That's a good idea.
Yeah, right.
I don't have a problem with anything that any department has, that if we can take a meeting and diverse from sitting around here and seeing what we can see that you can allow us to see what you do. And it's things that people that we talk to, we can share it with them so that they know what our city's doing for them. A lot of people think that city doesn't do much for them, but it's an eye opening to be involved just on the periphery of it. Thank you, Captain.
Thank you.
Mr. Byers, did you meet with?
I did. I met with Chief Comber yesterday out at 72, went over everything, and it was pretty much standard. Every question I asked, he answered. I didn't see anything outstanding. But the kind of the important thing is we got to tour the new fire tower, the active fire tower, which is pretty impressive for me because I'm a civilian, you know, and it's going to be a great tool for Porterville and the surrounding areas. So, I mean, if we have an opportunity to tour that again, that'd be well worth it too. So,
Yeah, because the hamburgers and hot dogs really
and that kicks in.
pretty doggone. Did they get you a hamburger?
Not yesterday.
Steve?
Quorum of one.
Yeah, as Sean said, we met yesterday, went over the budget, some of the notable things to go over. Talked about this before, but just as a reminder for everybody, nearly half of my budget consists of Measure H and Measure I. With the majority, I would say 95% of my maintenance and operations, day-to-day spending coming from H and I. So what you'll see in our quarterly is those typical day-to-day spendings and the maintenance and operations. As we closed out the year, we were able to come under slightly in Measure H. When you look at the Measure I numbers, are a little bit deceiving because it shows that we're $900,000 under, but in reality, we have over $700,000 in capital. That is in the form of tools and equipment for our new ladder truck and our 2 new engines. That'll be rolled over into our tools and equipment that we will purchase at a later date. So our ladder truck and our 2 engines were pushed back slightly. There's a little bit of a timing issue when you're ordering equipment. You don't have, 2 engines and a truck's worth of equipment sitting on your apparatus bay floor. So we're trying to time that to coincide with the delivery of our truck and 2 engines. So that's one thing you'll notice in there.
I was going to ask about that, the status on the new apparatus.
Yeah, so we're hoping that we will take delivery of the new ladder truck at the end of the year. We just received
We all get to go for a ride on it, right?
We'll go for a ride in that. Yeah, absolutely. So the new ladder truck and the 2 new engines will be a great addition to our fleet. In addition to that, one of the things the programs we're going to be addressing with the community in the upcoming the last part of this year, calendar year, is Deputy Chief Rossman has reached out to both Burton and Porterville Unified to provide them with a bleeding control program. So I'll say several, but I think it was last year, maybe 18 months ago, we purchased some bleeding control kits that basically simulate the packing of a wound and controlling of bleeding, which we know could be crucial for some of our educators, some of our teachers. So not only do we provide our folks with that level of training, we're getting that out into the community. Chief Rossman has been working with both superintendents to bring that. So we're hoping that those tools that we purchased, those training kits that we purchased with Measure I funding, will be delivered to the community in the form of training this upcoming end of our calendar year. Anything else, Sean, that I'm missing? We had a great opportunity. Let me talk a little bit about the training tower. So the training tower has been a great addition to the department. That's a project that we, Sarah, 3 years ago, we started that project. So labor of love, labor of excessive patience for Sarah, dealing with the fire department at times with the change orders that we had and making it really the best product we come up with. So It is the largest training tower produced by Draeger in the state of California. And Draeger has nearly 100 training towers throughout the state. It's unique in it's the form of a live fire training tower. So not many opportunities in our area to receive the live fire training like our tower produces. Not only does it have live fire training, it has confined space, vertical ventilation, all the other aspects of our job that we're able to complete. So that was a huge completion for us. And Sarah did an outstanding job as our project manager. And it wouldn't have been possible without Measure H and Measure I funding to help support us. In addition to that, most of my big purchases, and in addition to my annual budget, are in the form of capital projects. So, this has been one project setting up the other. So we remodeled our training classrooms, which you all have seen and been part of. The purpose of remodeling the training classrooms is they will serve as a temporary fire station for us when our next project hopefully goes through, which is the remodel of Station 72. Our crews will be displaced, they'll run out of there. So it has a kitchen, it has showers, it has upgraded bathrooms. It's fully been remodeled and outfitted to serve as a temporary station. And then following that, we're working on the design of Station 71 remodel and also with the EOC, which will go on the former library site. So we're a lot of projects working, and none of them would be possible without the support from the committee and Measure H and Measure I.
Very good. I'll go back for just a moment, Fernando. On the minutes, we had our motions, but he didn't ask for if there was any all in favor and opposed. Since it was only two of us, I didn't feel it was necessary to do it because we agreed that the minutes were okay. We agreed.
Okay. Sorry. Good question.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Chief. Anyone have any questions, the Chief? Nope. Well, let's talk about the library. Miss Harigi.
Hadaki,
Hadigi.
Hadaki. Okay, so the library finished fiscal year 24-25 Measure H at 77% of the budget. Staff continues to be very responsible with the spending and expenditures. As of the fourth quarter, all is routine expenditures. We had a few digital content subscriptions renewals. Many of the literacy activity purchases for summer reading program. Other weekly programs such as book clubs, game days and activities. Events were Dia de los Niños, May the 4th, and Star Wars. We actually had a lunch at the library with game stations and enrichment activities. We had a kickoff with a performer and pretty much just passive activities passed through June and July. And that's all I have to report.
Very nice, very nice. When we get through, remind me and I'll, so that you can have my phone number in case Margaret doesn't get a hold of you or something.
Actually, she left a message, but today she called and said that she's still in the nursing home
Okay.
and she may not get out for 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, all right, good, that's good. Tell her we said hello then. We can talk to her, then we missed her.
Mhm.
Streets and highways.
So streets self-performed a total of 9.74 lane miles in the fourth quarter. They reached 100% of the self-performed projects for the fiscal year, including 5 additional lane miles per council's request. Potholes, 15,141 square feet of potholes were repaired, and stop bars were painted at 1,800 square feet, and crosswalks are at 5,000 square feet in the fourth quarter. Total lane miles for the fiscal year were 25,000 or 25 lane miles. I think that's it.
Very good. Let me get your name again.
Robert Alvarez.
Oh, here it is. So this is gonna go here too. All right, head name, thank you. I just check it, make sure you remember. We had also anything on the litter abatement program? Are you familiar with that? Mr. Knight usually reported on that.
That one,
Is that yours now? Is that
yeah,
yours
we
now?
wrapped up the funding with that one, this quarter. And, we will be going with that particular abatement program for the new, year. So you won't see that in Measure I. But that one did wrap up. We, contracted out with CSET on that, so that one, expenditures were spent to wrap that program. So it went well. I think that money kind of dried up, so city staff is gonna be looking at getting some similar funding, but for that.
Did it, the program as you had it though?
It was good, yeah,
Worked well?
yeah, it did. Those are kind of more on the state routes and things like that.
Okay, you might want to talk to Captain Vance about that. Maybe the highway patrol can take that over too.
I'll fill you in later, Tony.
Yeah, okay.
Fernando? Have I left anything out?
Not that I'm aware, that was for both the Measure I and Measure H.
That's correct.
Okay, if you wanna go ahead and just proceed, you can go ahead and just, take them both in one motion.
You want to take them both in one motion?
It's,
But that's fine with me.
Yeah,
We
but-
usually split it, but
oh,
we usually take a vote on Measure H and Measure.
oh, yeah, let's go ahead and do that, sir.
Okay. Having reviewed or listened to all of the information on Measure H, does anyone have any corrections, suggestions, or anything that we may have left out during the meeting so far? Do I hear a motion to approve the report on Measure H?
A motion to approve.
I second the motion. All in favor? Aye, opposed?
Motion passes 2-0.
Any abstentions?
Yeah, just for anybody listening or anything like that, we do have, just 2 members in present, so it isn't,
Okay.
and then we do meet the quorum and all of that on stuff.
And the same thing for Measure H, any corrections or anything to Measure H? Do I hear a motion to approve the report on Measure I?
I motion to approve.
I second that motion. And what Fernando said.
And motion passes 2-0.
On your minutes, you had the preliminary review. Is that,
You mean for this agenda?
yeah,
Yeah, I don't, I mean, the draft is there. I think we can, I don't know. Rich wants to take that.
Yeah.
Provide a couple comments if you'd like.
sure. I mean, it was part of an agenda item.
Yes, sir.
So I think you would like to.
Sounds good. Attached to the agenda is the proposed budget for Measure I and Measure H. This will be going before City Council on this September 2nd as a proposed budget. There may be potentially some direction provided by council. So that what that means is there could be potential change to the budget. I don't anticipate any, but just kind of let you know, we propose a budget on September 2nd, and then the following meeting on September 16th is when they would adopt it. There have been times in the past that they've made some minor changes to the proposed budget. But what was presented in the agenda packet is what we know as of the posting of the agenda. For this meeting, the actual complete proposed budget, we're hoping to publish that tomorrow and in advance of the Labor Day weekend, so one day earlier than normal. Review it in its entirety. Some good. It's a fascinating document to read through. But in regards to Measure H, the estimated available balance for fiscal year 24-25 is 5.2 million. That's the balance at the beginning. The estimated revenues for Measure H for this current fiscal year is 5.4 million, which is about 10% down from the revised 24-25 estimate. The breakdown on the proposed Measure H budget for 25-26 includes the following: police services, 2.5 million, and they'll be coming in at 43% of the Measure H budget. Excuse me, fire services, 2.4 million, which equates to 41% of the Measure H budget. A public safety station, 259,180, 4.4% for the budget. And then finally, library and literacy. His budget is 678,400, which equates to 11.5%. Capital projects, Captain Manus and Chief Cogburn had mentioned many of them for the planned projects, but here's some that didn't cover in detail, but out of Measure H, here's includes a generator replacement for the police department. 140,000 emergency response vehicle preemption equipment, my understanding of preemption equipment, 80,000. And Mr. Chair, do you know what the preemption equipment I'm talking about, or would you like me to explain that?
Go ahead and explain it.
Captain Manus, over the years, the city has put in quite a bit of effort to install equipment at intersections. We focused on the major corridors, such as Henderson, Morton, Olive, installing preemption where when the devices are in the police or actually any public safety vehicle, it has ability to track that vehicle when they're flip the switch, for lack of a better term, but once they're have the preemption on, it will preempt the signal in its cycle, so that based on the direction of the vehicle, it will hopefully provide a green for that vehicle to allow that vehicle to go through. It helps with the response times, and also traffic control when you have a signal changing to allow the based on the vehicle's traveling direction, less accidents when they're
Pretty handy gadget.
Yeah.
At one time, certain places I worked, you could do the same thing with a spotlight. There would be a sensor up there. You could hit the spotlight as you approach the intersection. You could hit the sensor and the signals would turn in your favor.
Yeah, growing up, I was always told, use your high beams and maybe that will make the signal go faster, but
No.
it never worked for me. But anyway, these devices will work. And then finally, Captain Manus mentioned the EOC upgrades. We'll actually be completing the upgrades. We've already started, but the completion, we've budgeted 500,000 for this fiscal year. Projected at the end of the fiscal year. So we started with the available balance at 5.2 million. And then at the end of this fiscal year, the balance would be slightly over 4 million. So to do that, again, we're estimating 4,098,927.
That's close.
Yeah.
That was gonna be one of my questions, if H and I, based on expenditures and revenue, if they were self-sustaining, but they seem to be.
Yes, some H is in a better position than I.
Well, it's been doing it longer.
Yeah, yeah. And I can move on to Measure I if you'd like, or if you want to
No,
pause and take a vote. Okay, so moving on to Measure I, the estimated available balance is 15.6 million. The estimated revenues are 11 million, which is similar to Measure H, which means it's down about 10%. The breakdown of the proposed Measure I budget for 25-26 includes the following: police services 6.3 million, which equates to 25% of the Measure I budget. Design for future Centennial Plaza office / conference room right across the street, the budget is 60,500. Smart team vehicles is 240,000. Switching over to fire services, we budgeted 3.5 million, 27% of the budget. And then the chief spoke and described the timing of upcoming remodels. So for this year, we have Station 72 being remodeled, which will then set the stage for a remodel of 71. But 72 remodel is projected to be at 3.6 million. How to Measure I. in regards to street maintenance, similar budget from previous years, 326,251. We have a new trail maintenance program, with all the trails being built throughout the town. We were able to secure some funding from Measure R, 150,000 each year for the next 3 years. I highlight this as, it's in order to track these funds, it's going to be reported under Measure I, but for you all, it's actually being reimbursed. Measure I will be reimbursed by Measure R, if that makes any sense, but
No,
it's more of an accounting.
Right.
But that's the trail maintenance project, and we're projecting the trail maintenance to cost around 150,000. This will be the first time that we'll be doing this. So we're projected to use the entire 150,000. That includes personnel and some equipment that we've planned. There's a couple additional capital projects under Measure I. We have the new park and community center, 1.1 million is coming from Measure I, and the sports complex master plan at 15,900. There's a large number of street projects that we call our streets program budgeted under Measure I. All of those projects, and there's many. We can go into detail if you like, but there's a long list that's totals about 10 million from Measure I, which is 30%, 39% of the Measure I budget.
We could, but I think we have to give the room back by midnight.
Yeah. Good call, Mr. Chair. So you asked about the stability of the funds, and I do want to just pause a minute and talk a little bit more about Measure I. It is a newer program, but when you look at the documents that were provided in the agenda, you'll see a starting balance of 19 million and an ending, what you're going to see is an ending balance of 1 million. That means for projects planned for the next fiscal 26-27, a long-term strategic plan for Measure I needs to happen, as well as Measure H. Measure H is pretty stable, right? You have your percentages. I think this is going to be a good exercise for staff to really plan 5 to 10 to 15 years of Measure I, to make sure that we're not overspending and that we're spending based on what the sales tax measure was presented to the voters and also the goals and priorities of the city council. I'll pause there and ask if there's any questions.
The only question I have, and I don't know, I wouldn't be necessarily for you, but for Captain Manus, the trails project, is there any, what are your future plans once those things are completed on securing the integrity of those areas for what they're intended for? Basically, all these guys in their quads and their motorcycles that are racing up and down through the construction projects now, and have been doing that ever since Southern Pacific abandoned that railroad track.
So we do, we take direct enforcement, through patrol checks or through stopping the vehicles, citing them, towing them. There are some, this is, I even remiss if I didn't mention this because I don't know if this was taken into account, but some trails in different areas, they do have certain safety features. Like they have the bones, the loopholes, what the proper name of them is. But that's always something that we can look at, that these things are finalized and be coming into construction. Other than that, again, it's really about direct enforcement. One thing that I didn't cover kind of going back, but just looking at there's some elevated cost, Measure H and Measure I when it comes to lab analysis. So anytime you see those numbers up, even though it might be substantial, That shows that the officers are getting out there, being proactive, taking people to jail, your direct enforcement of drivers under the influence of alcohol or narcotics, things of that nature. So again, when it comes to the safety aspect, it's really through direct enforcement at this point.
That you do anticipate having protocol established by the time they're finished.
Well,
Because it's
again,
gonna take a little extra interest to begin with. Because these nitwits, they're not gonna stop just because somebody gets a ticket.
well, we've already experienced that. Let's say through homeless, you already have some of the trails, where you might have homeless who congregate on those trails, who block the walkway, people will damage things under construction. We were experiencing that with the,
NFA Byway.
Santa Fe Byway.
Hitler.
In the parkway. So again, direct enforcement is able to curb that. But typically too, it's like, you might have a select few individuals who engage in that type of behavior. So once you get out there making arrests and start issuing citations, typically you'll see a decline in, the damage, the racing, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a fairly new one in paralleling Highway 198
I'm sorry, I knew what?
trail that they just completed within the last year, I think. And every time I drive by there, it is really peaceful and the people who are supposed to be using it are using it. And I'm just wondering if Sheriff Boudreaux or Chief Salazar had any special programs that might be cherry picked from to help.
Some cities are creating park rangers that, one that we're looking at is, essentially like code enforcement officers getting used in a multi-purpose fashion or cross training where they would be park rangers and be on bikes and going down the trails.
Which would be pretty simple here because it's all incorporated. That would be difficult for them. They would have to have a multi-agency
Yeah,
agreement, but that's.
yeah.
And it's, I mean,
That's a good idea.
too, it's like if you have a new, subdivision, housing subdivision, where they're experience a lot of thefts, we will take proactive enforcement, not only to patrol check, but our guys get out of their car and walk it. This is essentially gonna be no different from that type of, proactive enforcement versus the opening and the construction of the trails. And with the lab analysis, there was a nexus I was going to make. I just forgot what it was.
Sometimes it'll catch up to you. Those trails might be a good place to demo the dog. How we doing?
We're doing great.
Anybody else anything else that you need to report? You all done? Any questions of Mr. Tree? Did you play knothole baseball for me
Probably.
with my son? I thought so. We both had hair back then, didn't we?
Not much, but yeah, I've kind of been like this for a while.
I thought so. Any other matters to discuss that anybody wants to bring up?
Nando is, I think, for that report right there, it would be, committee would need to make a recommendation on the 25-26 budget, right?
Do we
Well,
need
you
to?
would just accept it I mean,
Yeah,
so
I
the committee doesn't actually make recommendations to the city council. They're primarily reviewing the items that are on there. As a formality, we do have the committee make a motion to accept the report that was, received and then move forward.
Well, okay, then we can make a motion to accept the report on the review of Measure H and Measure I for the fiscal year 26 and 27. I make the motion.
Second.
Motion passes 2-0.
Everybody have their calendars handy? Penciled in November 25th.
That is the week of Thanksgiving,
It is the week of Thanksgiving.
tends to have a lot of people out.
Maybe they started celebrating Thanksgiving this week too, because there's a lot of people out now. I thought about that, but that would have been the approximate rotation for the meeting date, and I didn't want to suggest another date until we discussed it with the potential conflict with city council meetings.
Well, just for history purposes, I know we did a similar date last year, and because of the, close proximity to Thanksgiving, we did have to cancel that, so I don't know if we wanna maybe think of a different date. But again, it's up to the committee. Just be aware of council meeting dates, just because limited staff and everything of that nature.
I feel rather strongly either way. It would be nice just to say, well, let's just cancel the meeting for that period, but I don't think we should do that. I think we should do our due diligence and try to have a meeting sometime within that.
I mean, another option could potentially be as the date gets closer and seeing if, what the schedules look like for everybody else or whatnot. We can maybe determine that time or pick a date and.
Yeah, that's fine. If we want to go ahead and just pick that date tentatively,
Yeah.
and then see what happens as we go down the road.
Yeah.
Whether we want to try to find another date or just cancel or make it up at some other time.
Yeah, the staff will adjust as needed, so it's just on the direction of the committee.
Yeah.
So,
Fernand and I will stay in touch on it. He'll tell me what to do.
Same place?
There being no more matters, meeting adjourned.